I think we are recording, so let's get going. How's it going with testing? Let's we're just going to load in an old game here. So we got the Japan setup is already done, and we have this particular, I think this is becoming my favorite Japan starting setup. Really, Japan is going to need to put a significant proportion of its fighter units as cap, because they're going to get hit by the Americans, and it's really the opening airstrikes that each side launches against the other, obviously, as it is in all carrier battles, as it was historically at Midway, is vitally important. And with the cards that you have and the cap, you can actually blunt a lot of the incoming American strikes. I was actually for a while putting in all four, but then that would mean that the outgoing strikes would have no fighter escort, and that left them extremely vulnerable. So now I just tend to put one fighter unit as escort on each side, and they can absorb a lot of the losses, which means most of the fighter units, most of the attack units tend to get through to the enemy carriers, and they can do a lot of damage. The most important thing earlier on, we're going to just move on and do my opening draw. So I've got this card is usually very important, high-speed reconnaissance, because it means you get a 8 for the search value, and unless the Americans can counter that immediately with the equivalent card in their hand, which is, I think it's card 5, card 7, troubled reconnaissance, which essentially negates that card. That could give Japan a big advantage on the first turn, potentially win the game. So we'll probably play that in a minute. But first, I'm going to put that's the US draw. I'm going to play that. I'm not going to attack Midway, and I'm going to move my fleet into A1. The Americans will probably move closer. They do. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can hit them with airstrikes this time. And that's the big advantage of the card. This is the only occasion in the game where Japan can have more air operations points than the Americans. When I play that card. So I've got 4 here, so this gives me an excellent opportunity of getting a good start. Despite that, they've got the first operation. Doesn't matter. The only problem is if the Americans get the first 2, and it'd be very unlikely that they do that. Yeah, so I've got that, because otherwise I have planes on deck. So I can get my strikes into the air. I'm going to do the usual 2 strikes. I like to kind of have 2 strikes. One will normally hit Yorktown, and then the other one will hit, and normally one strike can sink Yorktown. And then the second strike will go after Enterprise and Hornet, if I get the right die roll. If I sink Yorktown on the first die roll, then there's no problem with the target determination. The problem will be if as we'll see in a moment, if the Japanese fail to hit the Yorktown, then they've got to go after the other. It's a 50-50 chance that they'll fail the target determination roll. So that's okay. So I'm going to send my 2 strikes out after the Americans. And we can see here it's the Japanese have 3, Americans 2. So I've still got the initiative. I would have expected that with a higher air op. So I get the first strike in. Usually the Americans will get the first strike in. On this occasion, it's going to be me. It's a shame I couldn't get 2 strikes in before the Americans could respond. I would have hit their planes on deck, but they have actually brought some planes up from the hangar. So they've got some planes on deck, which is interesting. I'm going to go after Yorktown anyway. And I've got the die roll, so I'll hit Yorktown. Only 1 hit, which I can absorb with the fighter. That's what it's there for. That gives me maximum, even if the anti-aircraft gets a hit. They'd have to get 2 1s, but to hit before any of my attack aircraft strength is reduced. Let's hope they don't do that. That's 1 hit on the American fighter cover, and they got 1 hit, so that can be taken off. Actually, that has to take off the attack aircraft. So I'm down from 6 steps to 5. That's okay. That should still sink it, and it does easily. I got 4 hits, so more than enough to sink Yorktown, and that means the second strike group can hit Task Force 16, because Yorktown is already sunk. There's no need to roll the die to see if I hit Task Force 16. That's automatic. Again, the Americans have put up their 4 cap. They've got 2 hits, and again I can take off that from the fighter. So I really do like the idea of having 1 fighter unit, even if it slightly weakens my cap. I think having 4 cap units on each carrier division is a little bit over the top. Again, they've got 1 hit. A little bit annoying, but not the end of the world. And now it's a question of how I actually allocate these 5 steps. I might allocate them all to one carrier and try and sink that carrier, because 2 carriers sunk at the beginning of the game is a pretty good start. So let's do that. See if I can sink Enterprise. Well, I only got 2 hits, but it's out of action, so 2 flight decks are out of action. It says here eliminated units, so the 2 air units on deck are wiped out. So that's 4 American dive bomber steps that have been destroyed there, plus the ones that we hit from Yorktown. So that means that's a pretty good start. The Americans only have 1 flight deck in operation now, which is Hornet. And now I bring my strike units back. Hiryu and Soryu's planes. Because there's no damage to any of my carriers, they have to go back to their parent carriers. So they all go over. This is the Akagi and Kaga going over to the return 2 box. And that's the end of my air operation. Let's see who gets the next one. Reroll if it's equal. Me again, and on this occasion I could launch a strike with this guy. I forgot to bring this one up out of the hangar, but I don't think I'm going to do that, because I don't like the idea yet of, I mean, I could go after Hornet, but he'll have some fighters. I don't want to waste attack strength hitting American carriers without fighter escort. So I'm gonna leave them on deck for now. Does mean when they hit me, I'm kind of tempted to actually put them below deck. I'm tempted to put them below deck, so they don't. Yeah, I'm going to do that actually, so they don't get that +1 modifier. So he's on deck, so we'll see what happens there. I should have left him in the hangar, but hey, what the hell. So now it's the American go. Now they're going to hit me for the first time, and this is where I need to be very careful about how many cap I allocate. They'll probably have 3 strike groups in the air, 1 from each carrier. So I've got to get through 6 units worth of attacks, and I've only got 3 units, so let's try and get this guy down. So I've got 3 of them. That's not a bad start. I'll probably run out of fighters though. That's the disadvantage of only having 3 cap units. And I got the 4th with the anti-aircraft, so that strike was dealt with quite easily. But he'll get me on the next one. I can put 1 more unit up. 2 hits, not too bad. Again, he'll absorb those out of his fighters, so this dive bomber will get through for an attack. So this is the first attack on. I got him down to 1, so just a 1-step attack by this Hornet dive bomber group. He's going after Soryu, and he missed. If I lose a carrier in the first round of attacks, it's not the end of the world. I will probably get some hits here on one of my carriers. He said he got 1, and he missed. So I'm completely unscathed after the first strikes, which is unusual. The American shooting wasn't great there, and mine was. So that's pretty good. That's the cap units. So we'll reset. We'll go back there. That's US carrier planes ditch. We'll definitely play that card. They lose a step from anything in the return box. There are their units in the return box. He took it from a fighter unit. So okay, fair enough. Not a great card. It cost them 1 step. Not a big deal. I have the initiative now, and that's good because it means I can get my fighters back up in the air before he hits me again. So that's really good news. Winning that die roll there. I'm going to leave all of these on deck at the moment and bring them up next turn. Same with these guys. I'm actually going to bring him back down. So I'm going to cover myself here in case the Americans hit me at the beginning of turn 2, which they might do. Depends on where the fleets are and how many air points. There's the end of turn 1 summary, and it's 1 victory point for sinking Yorktown. They may be able to tow that away yet if they've got the card towed to a friendly port, card number 1. And America will have 2 points if it maintains Midway to the end, but a long way to go. We'll see what happens. I'm going to stay where I am, hiding away in the corner, and the Americans have moved away, and they've also turned Enterprise into a DMCV. I should have predicted that and maybe moved a bit closer, but I can hit the DMCV. 1, 2, 3, and he can't hit me. That's just about in range, but I don't know if I'll get enough air ops this turn. No, we've only got 1 each, so what we'll do then is bring our planes up on deck and then move a bit closer, because we want to hit that DMCV fleet if we can. So let's move these up. I'll bring all my planes up on deck now. That one there, and that one there. So ready for turn 3. He's got a strike coming in now. I didn't expect that. I wonder where that's come from. Ooh, good thing I got my planes up. Those are from Hornet. He must have got another strike up at the back end of the last turn. I couldn't have moved further away so that the strike group's out of range. If these two torpedo bombs only got a movement allowance of 2, so maybe I could have moved out of range. I don't know. But they're going to hit me now, so I might suffer some losses. Possibly, yeah, and I've just brought my planes up on deck. This is going to be bad. He only got 1 hit, though. That's cost me a fighter step, but not the end of the world, so we're doing alright. The bad news, though, is that because all my planes are up on deck, my fighters have to go to the hangar. So Cardiff 1 is a little bit vulnerable at the moment. I'm going to have to think about what to do here. End of turn 2, still 2-1. I get to draw a card at the beginning of turn 3. Air replacements and naval bombardment. So at the beginning of turn 4, I can bombard Midway with this card, and I can replace one of my steps with this card at the end of this turn. So we'll see what happens there. Do I want to hit Midway? Given how far away his carrier fleet is, he'll probably move. He might stick around here to cover this, so I don't know whether to risk a Midway attack. I could move down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he'd probably be out of range. I think I will. I'm going to take a gamble. I wouldn't normally do this until later in the game, but I'm going to move down there and probably just use some of my planes. Maybe these guys, so I can get the fighters up. Because the problem is that you will use 2 air ops, which is not great really. So I'm gonna, and I don't have any fighters. This is probably going to be a mistake actually. It won't have any fighter cover, so I'm going to take these one up as well. Let's do a 4-plane strike. I think I'm probably going to regret this. So he'll go there on the first air op, then the second air op. He can hit Midway, but he's and you got 1 hit. That's not too bad. No, nothing from the anti-aircraft, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6, 7 steps, but they only hit on like on 2s because they both have -1 DRMs because they're attacking ground targets. I guess these guys are trained to attack ships, so 2s or less. And oh, I got 3 hits. Now the maximum is only, as per the rules, only 2 hits per attack. That will take out 2 of the 3 boxes. Then we roll to see which one it is. First one, we roll a 6, so that's box 3, and each time of course it'll take out some air units with it, so that's good news. And then there's box 1, so I've eliminated these 2. That will severely restrict Midway's ability to attack my Midway invasion fleet when it gets closer in the second half of the game. That's good news. So things are going pretty well at the moment. My Midway strike planes now need to come back. They always go to return box 1 even if they're on a 2-op mission, which they were this time. As per the rules, they go to box 1, which means they'll get back on their ships that bit quicker, which is kind of good news. But it has used up 2 air ops, so I'm not going to get many. Now the CSF has moved within range, so I could get hit this go. I'm going to be. I've got no more air ops. US air operation points 3. Okay. Just see what the Americans do this turn, then they might hit me this turn. I've got a bit of cap. And he's played towed to a friendly port, so I thought we might play that card. I can play this one, and I will pick. I'd like to get that. There's a dive bomber unit on deck on Hiryu, so that's this one. If I click on that one, it returns it to 2 strength, 2 step, and that means I can. So if you see down here, this on the Hiryu, the 1-step air unit has been restored to a 2-step dive bomb, and that's good. Now I can play naval bombardment to bombard Midway, which I'm going to do, and I got a 1. That's no use, so I don't get any hits. Midway garrison stays at 4. I've got it down from 6 to 4 with the airstrike, but the battleships were a little bit off target there, so that's no good. And at the beginning of turn 4, the night turn, I can bring on my Midway invasion fleet. I need to bring him on to within 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes of Midway, because there are 3 more turns after this. 1, 2, 3. He's got to get to one of these adjacent hexes in order to launch the invasion. And I'm going to move my carrier fleet down here to cover him. He can't fly cap, but he can sort of cover him by being in the general vicinity. US fleet movement, the DMCV has taken advantage of the double movement on the night move. He's moving off. He's probably going to make it off now, which is unfortunate, but there you go. The CSF is hovering around covering this guy. Night air operations, everyone's got to come back to their carriers and they can fly off again. And let's do that with these guys first. Not done badly to reach the end of the first day with only one hit on any of my carriers. This is the damage to Akagi, so that's pretty good. And 2 American carriers are out of action. I've got Midway down to 4 with airstrike, so I'm in a good position. I would expect to probably win the game from this point, just because the Americans don't have much carrier air power left and they can't launch particularly potent strikes. The key thing will be to make sure the Midway invasion force gets through without getting hit too much, because it hasn't got any air cover of its own and it's vulnerable. So I'm going to need to be ready for another strike on the American carriers if they kind of get too close. So he's done his air operations. I lose a point now. I had a point and then I lost it because he's towing Yorktown away. Not much I can do about that, unfortunately. So that's unfortunate, but now it's my draw. Critical hit, that's a good card for me to draw. It's not my card, but it means the Americans can't play it. This is a particularly nasty card that adds a hit when they hit my carriers. I'm not going to hit Midway again this turn, I don't think. I think I want to go after his carrier fleet. Midway invasion force can go there. He can go move over there. So my Midway invasion force is now a couple of hexes away from being able to invade, which he'll do at the end of turn 7, all things being well. I forgot to move my... I made a mistake there by forgetting to move my... I can still do that, can I? Yeah. I can do that because this was effectively still the night turn. The game shouldn't let me do this, but it kind of let me off here. I didn't know you could do that, actually, but I would have done that anyway because I should have done it in the night turn. So because I forgot, and it hasn't changed where I can move, so that's absolutely completely fair enough that it does that. Good little feature of the game that kind of wasn't intentional, but has allowed me to kind of make up for a mistake. So I'm quite pleased with that, actually. So he's moved closer. He's not quite in point-blank range. It'll still take 2 ops for us to strike each other. The DMCV is now nearly off the map. He'll go off the map next go and make sure Enterprise is going to be safe to fight another day. Oh, but he's got the troubled reconnaissance card, and he's got my search value down to 1. That's a nasty card. I've got 1 point. This could be tricky this turn, because he's still got Hornet. That's the one of the remaining Midway planes. I can get rid of that quite easily. But I suspect that Midway's maybe Hornet might come in now. Now what we can do is have a look at the game state and see how many carrier how much is attack strength. He's still got 5 steps left. Are they on Hornet? We don't know. But he's still got theoretically 5 steps. They may or may not be on the Hornet, so he may not have too many Hornet planes left. I could click on this button and have a sneaky look, but I'm not going to do that. That would be cheating. US has initiative. Who's he got? Here are the Hornet planes, so this is a full-on attack. This could be bad news. I'm probably going to get hit here and damaged. He's probably going to sink Akagi now, I would imagine. Yeah, so we've lost a carrier. Still not the end of the world. And he's got 1 more Midway plane. They're not particularly good. He would have had to have rolled a 1 actually with the SB2Us. They're not very good attack planes, so that's okay. So I've lost 1 carrier. That's not the end of the world, because this game will probably be decided, as many are, with the whoever controls Midway at the end of the game. So I've got rid of this Hornet torpedo bomber there with the cap. My cap units now return. We can go straight on deck, which is good. They can go back up again when it's my turn. This one has to go in the hangar though. Is that it? Yes, that's it. So there's no more to go. Next action. I've got initiative now. Now what shall I do? Shall I attack him? Yeah, we've got to launch a strike here for sure. Let's get 1 plane back up into cap, and let's launch a strike. It will not get there by the end of this turn, so it will roll over to next turn. So theoretically he could move away, but if he moves 2 away, I think I'll still be in range. So he can't do that trick of moving away and putting my strike out of range, which is a slightly gamey but effective tactic that you can do in this game. And the AI will do that from time to time. So what I mean by that is my strike has to move here, and in the next stare up it will hit him, and he could move away, but even if he moves up here somewhere, it'd still be 3 away, and my guys all have ranges of 3. If he was 2 away, he could move away and then be 4 away at the beginning of next turn, and then my guys would have to fly back because they'd be out of range. That's a tactic that you kind of... But the problem with doing that is you have to guess. You don't know when there's a strike, and you could be moving away unnecessarily. So sometimes he'll do that and gamble. Sometimes he won't. Sometimes I do that and gamble. Sometimes I don't. But there you go. And that is the end of the turn, is it? Yeah, okay, so that's the end of the US last air operation of turn 5. 3-0 at the moment. If I get Midway, I would win the game 2-1 as things stand. Do I want to hit Midway again? I think maybe I do. Because he'll only be one air op point, and I'm at point blank range anyway. Let's go after him again. So let's just move that. I'm going to move that there and that there. So now here's the Midway. It's my second attack at Midway. I'll try and get that third and final deck box. And do I want to hold some back to hit his carriers if this strike doesn't work very well? Actually, no. I'm gonna go all in. What the hell? I'm gonna use all of my remaining planes just as well, because he's still got some strong cap, which I'd forgotten about. Okay, let's take that off there. 2 anti-aircraft, hits 1, so I lost a couple of steps, but I still got a hit, and that's going to destroy the base. Midway base is destroyed, took off his life, so he can't fly any more cap or anything. That will reduce the garrison, I think, down to 2. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, if that's right, it's even though I only get 3 hits, it says base destroyed. If the base is destroyed as per the rules, its garrison is set to 2. I think that's right. I'll have to double check that later, but pretty sure that's okay. Now my Midway strike goes back. Cargo planes go over there. Hiryu and Soryu planes over here. And that's the end of that air op. So US fleet, he's moved right down close. He's going to go after my Midway invasion force here, so I need to try and get him before he does that. And I've got 3 points. That's not too bad, because he's at point blank range. 4 minus the 1 that we used for Midway. Now he's going after my MIF. Oh, I've got 2 anti-aircraft hits. That's great news. That was a pretty potent strike. He could have done some serious damage there. But my gunners did their job. He got 1 hit, so the Midway invasion force is now down to 4. So the current state of play with regards to that is that the Midway invasion force is 4, but the Midway garrison is 2. So I'd still expect an invasion to succeed with those odds. Now it's my turn to finally... He had quite a few air ops in a row there, which has... done some damage to my Midway invasion force. I think he'll prioritise the Midway invasion force in the current situation, I think, which makes sense because it's getting close to that part of the game where the Midway invasion force is going to be very important. But I've got this strike, and I want to hit Hornet, his last remaining carrier. So let's see if I can get Hornet. Still got some cap. Oh, no hits. Oh, that was lucky. I can hit him back with my fighters. Oh, 2 hits. Nice shooting again. My die rolling has been very good in this game. That's ultimately probably what's going to have won me the game. Anti-aircraft fire. No. So let's see if I can sink Hornet. Yay! We got his last carrier. There we go. I should get the CSF off the board now because 1 carrier is being towed. 1 is damaged CV Enterprise and the other one's sunk. So that's the end of his carrier fleet. So my MIF is, and of course the Midway base is also the Midway base has been destroyed, so he can no longer launch any airstrikes on either my carriers or my Midway invasion force. And I still have 1 more turn, and I could I launch? I might be able to get the planes up and do 1 more. There's no point doing another attack on Midway. So neither side, he can't do any attacks because all of his flight decks are out of action. I can't do any attacks because the Midway base is already destroyed and the CSF is out of action. So we'll just kind of plod through to the end of the game and do the Midway invasion now. I'll get all my plane. I'm going to bring him up. These guys bring them up on deck anyway. It doesn't actually matter now because, as I say, there's no more targets for me to shoot at. So I'll bring him up on deck. I'll just do that anyway. I don't really know why, but I'll do it anyway. So then it's end. It's going to be soon. It's going to be the end of turn 6. And the US's final turn. He can't do anything. So 3-1 now. But of course if I take Midway that will become 3-1 to me. We've lost 1 carrier each, and we can see that the CSF has disappeared. We can have a look at the fleet box and we can see that there's the DMCV and the CSF. They've both left the map. This one was forced off and this one left voluntarily. So we don't get a victory point if the CSF is just eliminated. If he leaves the board voluntarily, quite a rare situation that would happen. That would probably happen if you've got no planes left and you've got all 3 of your carriers are either out of action or damaged, but there might be one that might make a run for it to avoid losing the victory point. That's not the case here. So let's get rid of that. So what we're going to do now, we draw a card. He may have Semper Fi, which would give him one more to his Midway. That would make things a little bit trickier if he does. And I haven't got it, so it's possible. No, Midway base destroyed. So I'm going to move him across, ready for the invasion. And then we get on with things. 1 point each. But no air operations, so it doesn't matter. We can get through this quickly with only 1 air operation each. We don't actually care. And so that's the end of that. End of the air operation. And now, he's played card 8. I thought he would if he had that. He's going to play that. So that increases the Midway garrison back up from 2 to 3. And the Midway garrison fires first in combat. So this is not quite as clear-cut an invasion for the Japanese as I thought it might have been. So here's the situation in the Midway invasion. My Midway invasion level's 4. His is 3. And crucially, he gets to roll first. You'll have a 50-50 chance of getting a hit on me. You've got to roll less than or equal to your strength, which is 3 for him, 4 for me. So if he gets that hit, it'll level it up at 3-3, and then it gets quite hairy. And he's got it, so it's now 3-3. And I missed. He missed. I've got a hit now, so it's 3-2. That slightly shifts the odds back my way. Missed. Another one. Now it's 3-1. Now there's a good chance I can win this. Oh, missed, because he's got to get 1, so I just needed 3 or less, and there we go. Invasion successful, and that basically means at the end of the game, I successfully invade Midway, and I win the game 3-1. And another great game of this fantastic little game, Fury at Midway. Thanks for watching.